Hi friends, welcome back to Tech Tips with Jamie. My name is James Godfrey and this is Mark Edwards. You guys come to this channel to hear all of the newest news about everything technology. And today we're talking about the iPhone 11. And we're breaking down our top 100 favorite things about the iPhone 11.
So I don't think we can talk about a mobile device in 2020 without talking about camera quality.
Yep.
And the iPhone 11 is no exception when it comes to taking exceptional photos. At 6,000 megapixels, these photos are going to come in at a crisp 4:3 aspect ratio. The one downside is they are in 720p, but that's more than enough today to stream in 4K, 5K, 6K, whatever you plan on doing.
Yeah, 1 or 3K, anything. So that's number one, the camera. Number two on the list of our favorite features of the iPhone 11, I have to talk about the touch screen.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
I know this was invented a while back. We threw out the old stylus, but they have brought it back with this new screen. It's fantastic. I've never felt something be so responsive to my fingertips. So that's number two for the iPhone.
Yeah, I mean, smartphones nowadays have touch screens, but this one is just particularly
touchy.
It works.
Yeah.
The third thing for me, and this kind of jumped at me right away when I took it out of the box, was that the phone calls are incredible on this thing. The first thing I did when I pulled it out was I dialed my mother's phone number and I called her and I talked to her and I could hear everything she was saying.
Oh, that's great.
Which cannot be said about the iPad, the Nintendo Switch. The phone call quality is just not the same.
There's so many electronics out there that cannot do what an iPhone 11 can do.
Exactly. Why don't you hit me with number four?
Number four, let's talk about the rectangular shape.
Yeah, so
a square would not work. I think of a phone if it was the same width as it was length, putting up to your phone. The people at Apple have thought this through. They slendered it so you could hold it in your hand while still accessing your mouth and your ear.
It's almost like the iPhone 11, it's almost like Apple knew what pockets were going to be shaped like in 2020 and designed this phone retroactively to fit perfectly into my pocket.
Yeah.
The iPhone 6 was a circle and that didn't fit. Number five for me would have to be the YouTube app.
Oh, wow.
So I actually am considering of getting rid of my desktop computer because as great as YouTube runs on Windows 97, the way that you can just tap on that smooth touchscreen and YouTube opens up right away, it's ergonomic.
It's amazing. And think about this, it replaces the need for a large TV screen, computer screen.
Totally.
Because no matter how small the phone is, you can bring it close to your face if you want a bigger screen.
Well,
I regularly hold it right about here. And
it's like having an 80-inch on the wall.
No, it's not even a wall. My whole world is I can't really see the blacks in the middle, but
it's essentially VR. So moving on to number six, the iPhone 11 takes everything that we like about the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 6. You add those together and you have 11.
Yeah. The next thing I love about the iPhone 11, we got to talk about the inside.
Yes.
We've been talking about the outside, the electronic, but let's get inside, okay? So when I cracked open my iPhone 11 and looked inside, I was pleasantly surprised to see that it had a lot of stuff inside it. You know when you buy a bag of chips and there's mostly air? Yeah. I was like, man, I'm paying a lot for this phone. It better be
packed. It is packed full. There's very little room.
Oh.
We tried what is called the Cheerio test, where you drop the opened phone into a bowl of cereal and you see how much cereal fits inside, and I don't think there was any Cheerios inside the phone.
We're talking battery, we're talking memory card, we're talking other stuff. All full. No space.
Absolutely.
It was wonderful. So guys, big bang for your buck there. They did not skimp. No air in your iPhone.
No. The other thing I love about the iPhone 11, and I think this is number 7, is Shrek II.
Oh, okay.
So in the year 2000, we get DreamWorks' first CGI animated feature, right? We already had Road to El Dorado, Prince of Egypt. Yep. Those were great. They were these big sweeping epics, gorgeous 2D animation, but that was going the way of the dodo. Then comes along Shrek. Okay? Then in 2004, we get Shrek 2. It took everything we liked about Shrek, but without all the lead-in. We knew these characters, we loved these characters. Now we're getting to meet Fiona's parents, we're meeting Puss in Boots, who would go on to have his own movie. Anyways, I watched Shrek 2 on my iPhone 11. I watched the first 5 minutes in bed last night, and it looked amazing. I don't know that I'll be keeping my DVD player because Shrek 2 ran so well on the iPhone 11.
Guys, it's an all-in-one machine in a lot of ways. The next thing I love about the iPhone 11, it can double as an extra large iWatch, or Apple Watch as they call them. So I wanted to get an Apple Watch, but after buying the iPhone 11, I couldn't really afford it.
You don't need it.
You do not need this, guys. You put it on your wrist.
Duct tape,
Velcro.
zip tie.
Some people have very long arm hair, and they can just tie it around, do a little noose on top. Guys, wow. Honestly, yes, I'm having a little bit of back problems in my left shoulder, but ultimately, to be able to see my watch from anywhere, it's so large and so bright. I can put it here, Mark,
and I would still be able to see it.
See the time on my wrist.
Even in my peripheral vision, it'd be like,
you
whoa.
can see it. So, guys, you know what time it is. And then, guess what? Then you have an Apple Watch that doubles as a phone.
Exactly.
So,
and that's the thing. I think the thing that everyone was criticizing about the Apple Watch is that it can't make calls.
Yeah.
Number 9 for me would definitely have to be the case. Obviously, the case doesn't come with the phone, and you can get any case you want. But I made my case, I just hand stitched it out of some scrap fabric that I had from a quilting project I was working on. And I guess this is not so much. The credit is not so much to Apple as it is to just my eye for design. But the case is delightful.
Chicken or the egg, right? We couldn't have your case without the phone first. So
exactly. If I never saw the iPhone 11, I would have never said, "Whoa! What if I took these old oven mitts with the paisley pattern and cut them into a rectangle?"
Yeah. Which brings me to my next point. Why I love the iPhone 11. It inspires creativity.
It does.
It really does. To have that in my hand, have constant access to see other people's work is so inspiring. I spend hours upon hours every day looking at other people being creative and thinking, wow, I want to try that. But then, of course, by the end of the day, I don't have any time.
Exactly.
Because I've been watching the video. So, but still, one day, right?
It's incredible.
One day.
So, number 11 for me is that the iPhone 11, coincidentally, does something that I have never seen an iPhone do before. That is the ability to take a message composed completely of text, of plain text, not a voicemail, and transmit it to the person wirelessly, and they receive it. So you can't always take a call, right? If you're in a meeting, you get a call, and then they leave a message, you have to check. It just doesn't work.
This is why I brought Mark here today, because I don't know about this. This is a tech tip.
It's fiddly to have to call into your voicemail service and enter your passcode thing, and then listen to the message and then call the person back. So what this does, it's sort of a text message, is you can just kind of glance at it, you can see the information, and if you want to respond, you can literally respond right there, just typing on it like a miniature keyboard that shows up on the touchscreen.
What did you call that for our people at home?
Text message.
Text message. That's fantastic.
So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that in the future. And the iPhone 11, as usual, is just, it's blazing the trail.
Yeah. The next thing I love about the iPhone 11 is its name. Of course, it derives its name from a popular character in Stranger Things.
Yes.
I thought that was so cool that they're so in the now that they said, hey, let's get to where these young people are at. They're watching this show. They love this character. Let's give them a phone for the fans of the show.
First of all, I love the symmetry of the 11. Yeah. Like numbers such as 13 or even, dare I say, 27 or 55.
64.
They're not symmetrical, but the 11 is, it's almost like it's a 1 looking itself in the mirror.
I can see that, actually, yeah. I wonder, in a way...
It also would have been easier for them to say, hey, it's the iPhone 91. It's like, well, yeah, it's a bigger number, but...
The next thing the next thing I love about the iPhone 11 is that they didn't cheap out, guys. They could have taken the 5 and the 6, or they could have taken a 1 and a 1 and stood them side by side in a case.
No, they made an entirely
new phone. It's like, I went to the store thinking, man, it's going to be a 1 and a 1 in a box.
Absolutely.
It wasn't, guys. 2 1s put together into one phone.
So, number 14 for me is that the iPhone 11 has taken all of these precious metals from the earth that are a finite resource that will eventually run out, and has found a way to package them into a device that will be thrown into a garbage heap in possibly less than 2 years.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Wonderful. I also, can we not forget that this is employing so many needing people in the world?
Absolutely.
Right? Think about Ashton Kutcher, Michael Fassbender, so many people that have gotten to play Steve Jobs because of the popularity of the iPhone. And so every time they come up with a new one, there's a chance that some hardworking actor out there is going to get an opportunity
Absolutely,
to play
absolutely.
a dead guy.
That even takes me into number 16, which is that the iPhone is really it's a foundation for the tech industry. In that literally so many of them have become landfill as a result of them becoming obsolete so quickly. We already know that the iPhone 12 and 13 are coming down the pipeline right now. And so I just love the fact that the ground we are standing on is literally filled with discarded Apple technology.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. The iPhone 11 took one major step in helping the environment by no longer including a charging device. This is a real thing I heard about on the internet.
You can't charge it.
So no, it has a charging device, but
Right.
they're expecting that you use your old one. And I thought that was so cool of them, that they just said, hey, hold on to your old charging device, use it for the new phone.
And that actually brings me into number 18, which is that the price is not reflective of that. They said, you know what, we're not giving you headphones, we're not giving you a charger, you're literally just getting the phone, but we're going to charge you more than the iPhone 10.
Because people need to learn that you have to pay for environmental safety. You have to pay for that. If you want this greenhouse gas to go, you got to give money to somebody, and that somebody is Apple.
I think number 19 is it was pretty important to you. I'm surprised it's this far down the list, but
yeah, it's definitely it's the fact that when you turn off your screen, if you look at it, it can double as a mirror.
Absolutely.
You have to be in a completely dark space with a light on your face, but if you look at it, then you can really kind of make yourself out in your screen without even on. So let's say that you don't have electricity, your battery dies. You're stuck on an island. You don't have anything, but you're like, man, what do I look like? You can totally look at yourself in the
I think it's called mirror mode, and it's proprietary. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that lately.
Well, hopefully they don't lose it. If they have it for the 11, hopefully they keep it for all the ones.
I absolutely hope they do. So number 20 excited me for a couple reasons. And one is that I didn't see it coming, and the other is that the people that did see it coming didn't think it would be that good.
Yeah.
So we're working way up the list to number 21. And I think what excited me personally about the speakers that were built into the iPhone is that they were built into the iPhone. I no longer had to plug in external speakers. I used to actually bring a guitar amp, and I had a 1/4-inch to 1/8-inch adapter just so I could watch videos on the subway. But then, of course, I had to have external power source for the amp. And it was a nightmare. It was clunky. It was fiddly. And this is just the better way to go. It's the way of the future.
It's a big picture play by Apple, definitely.
Oh, totally.
I want to talk about the light on the phone. It blew me away, okay? So this is a bright light. If you guys ever know, there's the flashlights on the phone, but this one has got a bright light. I actually have a story to tell you. My car, I lost a headlight on my car, and then the second one. And I had no headlights, so I was driving by a dark path, and I thought, what the heck am I going to do? So I take my iPhone 11, I turn on that flashlight,
That's
I
brilliant.
turn on my radiator. Guys, I could see literally inches in front of my car.
Yeah.
Literally
That's
inches.
phenomenal.
If anything were to jump out immediately in front of my car, I would have a few seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe a second to respond. It didn't save all of them, but it definitely saved some of those deer that night.
Totally. So number 23 for me is the address book.
Okay.
In the contacts list, because one thing that frustrated me about the previous iPhones and the majority of Samsung models is that it just by default makes every contact's name Alex, and which is frustrating because then you end up just Alex 1, Alex 2, but I have to remember Alex 3 is my dad, Alex 5 is my personal trainer.
It's not
annoying, and you weren't able to change it. You literally were just making Alex followed by a number, and the fact that now you have the choice between Alex and Brad. I just say, okay, Alex is Alexandra. All the women are Alex in my phone. All the men are Brad. And I got Brad 1, Brad 2. So my dad is Brad 17, for example.
Wonderful.
It's just so much more intuitive. I don't know why people aren't following suit.
Yeah. Number 24. Let's talk about its retro capabilities. Listen here. I know people say DVDs are out. Blu-ray is out. Digital is the way of the future. But Apple has done something fantastic. Now, people don't know about this. But you can actually take a DVD and crush it up into little pieces, and you can insert that in the little hole, the charging hole in the bottom of your phone. And then if you open up your phone and access any movie streaming site you want, you can find that DVD on that site. So I'll give you an example. I wanted to watch Lord of the Rings, right? I crush up my DVD, I put it in my phone, I open up Netflix, and there is Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
Yeah, retro capabilities,
Wow.
guys. They've taken the old and brought it into the new.
They've merged the old with the new in ways that I don't think any of us saw coming.
Yeah, not at all.
So, moving on to number 25, I think something that the iPhone 11 does that I didn't even know that I would care about is its ability to play video games. Because obviously we all have a Sega Genesis, a Sega Saturn, we all have the Sega Master System, we all have the Sega Nomad, we all have the Atari Jaguar, the Commodore 64, but I'm seriously considering selling all these because what the iPhone does is it allows me to open up my browser, access a website called Twitch, and watch people who live with their parents who are well into their 30s play Fortnite against children and talk about it for hours on end. And I just think, why would I need to play a video game when I can watch a guy with no job, no formal education, no skills, no interpersonal skills, no personality, no romantic relationships of any kind, play League of Legends for 4 hours while his mom watches tennis in the background.
I've actually heard a lot of game developers say this. They invented those games not to be played, but to be watched.
It's incredible. And so the fact that the iPhone 11 allows me to do that, I just think is a huge leg up over, say, my BlackBerry.
Yeah, definitely. Let's talk about the status symbol that an iPhone 11 is. Guys, I want you to take it and think of it as it's a golden ticket.
It is. You practically wear it as a belt buckle.
Honestly, there's been so many opportunities where I've been forced to be in front of somebody, and I just don't have their respect. I don't have their admiration. I don't have.
And then they see it peeking up out of your pocket.
They see the little tip of my phone, and they say, "Hey, look, I see your tip.
Yeah.
I see your tip." If you want to get into that next TikTok party, you want some young YouTuber to think that you're successful. Pop this.
If you want to get into, if you're going to Instagram University, or
you need it.
You need
it for that. Think about this. I am a full-grown man, but I need 13-year-olds to think that I'm wealthy.
I've actually considered getting a second one, so I can have one in each pocket. So when I'm talking in a group of multiple people, like they can. This person may see it, that person may see it, and that way on all sides, I have the respect that I think I deserve.
Definitely. And you said something very interesting there. This brings us to number 27, online education. You
Absolutely.
said Instagram University. Guys, an iPhone 11, so what? It costs $7,000. It is a required piece of equipment now. That is your tool. It is not a toy. It is not a game. I know 90% of it is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, showing pictures of yourself to girls. The fact is, it is now a necessity.
Absolutely. That brings us to number 28, which for me is the battery life.
Okay.
So I turned this on when I first got it.
Yep.
And I just left it on, and I just let it play Shrek 2.
Okay.
Shrek 2, Shrek 2, Shrek 2, Shrek 2. I gotta say, I was stunned to find that this battery lasted for 18 Shrek 2s.
18 Shrek 2s.
Yeah.
How long is the running time of Shrek 2? We want to tell people at home. They're interested in this.
It's about 95 minutes.
Is this a Samsung you have here?
This is the Samsung A70. Because the iPhone 11 doesn't come with a calculator, I decided to pick up a brand new Samsung 28.5 hours.
Oh my gosh, guys. That is essentially 5 or 6 business days.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, and speaking of business, number 29 is that the iPhone 11 is so essential for business that I walk into a business meeting and they said, "Do you have your iPhone 11?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Okay, you can stay."
Yeah, I hear that. I was asked the same thing on the bus the other day. A gentleman came up to me. I won't have to say what he looked like, but he had a mask on his face. We all do now because of COVID. And he said, "Is that an iPhone 11?" And I said, "Yes." Anyways, I woke up the next day, and that guy has an iPhone 11 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
With that, so number 30 for me is that previous models of the iPhone, you couldn't just buy from the store. It wasn't an option.
No.
You had to first pick up, you have to buy Steve Jobs' autobiography.
Yep.
You had to clip out the coupon at the back. You had to mail it to Pasadena, California. You had to wait 6 to 8 months. They would send you a voucher in the mail. You would fill out your name and your address and some other personal information. You would send that back to Pasadena, California. It would be processed. And then 1 to maybe 3 weeks later, you would get your iPhone in the mail. But now we have the option to go to a store and purchase it with money. Money that we have acquired from working jobs or perhaps from the sale of goods and services. Like if you're a plumber, you go to someone's house, you do the work, and they pay you. That money can then be used to purchase an iPhone.
This other thing I love about this brings me to the next point, is I didn't know this, but there was a lot of unemployed geniuses out there.
Yes.
A lot. And the way you can tell that is if you go to an Apple store, you can see that they have geniuses lining the walls, willing to come and work minimum wage, wearing a t-shirt, wearing jeans, helping people with their technological problems, but they're geniuses. And it makes you think, like, man, like these people could be solving the world's problems, making vaccines, really just visiting the moon. But there's just such a surplus. I didn't know that there's this whole group of people that need work, that are struggling, and Apple has taken them and said, hey, you can come be a genius here.
And they devote so much of their time to thinking about how to help you with your iPhone. They don't even have time to shower. Number 32 for me was interesting because it's not what I expected from a company like Apple, which is that the iPhone, I was able to use my iPhone to order my Samsung A70 from Best Buy.
That's cool.
And I'm not sure if previous iPhones had the capabilities to purchase cheaper but better quality Samsung products.
Literally competition.
Literally to buy the competition, which is half the price and does everything that the iPhone 11 does. Okay. I just thought that was incredible. In fact, I may even use my Samsung A70 and the Kijiji app to sell my iPhone 11.
That's incredible.
I just think it's incredible value.
It's a cycle.
Absolutely.
Can we also say, let's just thank Apple for raising awareness for a lesser known fruit.
Yes,
like,
absolutely. Number 33 would have to be
raising awareness for apples. Guys, apples, we all know, nobody knew what an apple was. We had bananas, we had
potatoes,
pumpkins, we had avocados, we had potatoes.
We think of everything we would put in a fruit salad here. Bananas, potatoes, grapes, lettuce,
radishes.
And then radishes, and then apple comes along, and I'm like, apple?
What the heck is an apple?
I know, I know what it is. Like I've heard it.
And that symbol, I think maybe my mom.
Looks like a short pear.
I know back in the 30s, apparently teachers used to eat them. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I was like, I gotta try one of these. And can I just say, guys, a Fuji apple, a Pink Lady apple,
a Gala.
These guys, there's a
Honeycrisp, Macintosh,
Honeycrisp. Listen,
Northern Spy.
Honeycrisp is the Apple 11.
Portland, Golden Delicious, Red Delicious, Granny Smith.
Oh man.
Crab apples.
Buttersmurth. Green Ladies. Now apple, guys, you go to any school and ask a kid what an apple is, I bet you he can tell you what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So number 34 is kind of interesting because it's a feature that I think a lot of people won't use, but the people that would use it will use it all the time, which is that if you open up the browser and go to a search engine like Yahoo or Bing or Ask Jeeves or any of the other really popular ones.
So it's called ask.com now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they updated that one.
Okay, so Jeeves has retired.
Yeah.
But if you go and search for images and you want to look up a picture of J.K. Simmons, you will get many pictures of J.K. Simmons.
No way.
So
on your phone.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I'm not sure that you would get as many pictures of, say, Drew Barrymore or Garth Brooks. But when I typed in J.K. Simmons, I got many pictures of J.K. Simmons. So for total J.K. Simmons heads like me, this is a great feature. For people who maybe aren't so hot on J.K. Simmons, who maybe weren't a big fan of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, and were less than thrilled that he has come back in Spider-Man Far From Home to reprise the role of J. Jonah Jameson, or perhaps people that thought he was miscast as Commissioner Gordon in the Justice League, or people that liked the musical elements of Whiplash but found Miles Teller entirely unappealing, or for people who have seen some of the earlier seasons of Law and Order SVU and thought that he did a pretty good job as Emil Skoda. That's I'm not here to talk about that. I'm just saying I like J.K. Simmons. I think he's a good actor. He's the voice of the Peanut M&M.
Oh.
I appreciate what he's the lion mayor in Zootopia. I appreciate his body of work. And so the ability to open my browser and go to ask.com and look up pictures of J.K. Simmons, I thought, wow, can I do this on my Samsung A70? Yes. Have I done it? Yes. Have I done it side by side with two different pictures of J.K. Simmons so I can look at them and think, hey, here's J.K. Simmons from 1998. Here's J.K. Simmons from 2018. Did I think, wow, this is incredible? Did I ever think I'd be here?
Wow.
Did I ever think my wife would leave me over this? No. But now I'm starting to pick up additional phones off Craigslist, off Kijiji. I have 6 or 7 phones. I play poker with 6 or 7 different J.K. Simmons. This is my life now.
Wow. That's fantastic.
So when I think that Steve Jobs, died for this, small price to pay. Small price to pay. I would kill Steve Jobs 6 or 7 times. One for each J.K. Simmons.
There we go.
Why don't you hit us with number 35?
Number 35, guys. This is a fully peanut-free phone.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's out. Yeah.
Allergy people at home, I know everybody's looking at this saying, what phone am I going to buy? I know that I'll have an anaphylactic shock.
Well, and it has to be school safe, which takes me to 36, which is that it's gluten-free.
Oh my gosh. Is it?
So my grandfather has celiac, which
Okay.
means that the villi in his small intestines experience severe abrasions whenever he consumes gluten because he can't digest it properly. So the fact that he can comfortably have an iPhone 11 and not be worried about gastrointestinal distress is incredible.
Yeah. Also, guys, it's a lot of people are wondering about having babies. Maybe they don't want them just yet. Listen, there's so much radiation coming off this thing. I know it's zapping your testicles, and there's a good chance you will not have kids.
Absolutely,
or at least not healthy ones. So.
And 38 for me, actually going off of they're aware of what people are feeling.
Okay.
And they're aware of the direction that society has gone. More people are vegan. This contains no animal products.
None at all.
None at all.
I appreciate that, especially with a name like Apple. They should be vegan.
Well, exactly. I mean, the iPhone 6 obviously contained trace amounts of pork. The iPhone 9 contained gelatin, which is an animal byproduct. And vegans are concerned because it contained honey, which comes from bees and people, whatever. But this is egg-free, dairy-free. Anyways, this is incredible.
This is so amazing. That's amazing that they would make that choice like that. I think that's bold.
Why don't you hit it with number 39?
Number 39, this is something that I don't tell a lot of people about. But I was born with 3 nipples.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. And I struggled for a long time with having my 3rd nipple right here. Right above my heart. And I went to a doctor's and they said that you could remove it, but in all honesty, it's a dangerous spot to do surgery.
Yeah.
And I opened up my iPhone 11, and I don't know how it knew this, but I got an ad for a YouTube video about mole removal.
Yeah.
And I looked at the picture, and I said to myself, this is just a mole. And I went back to my doctor to tell him and say, listen, doctor, I don't think it's a nipple. I think it's just a simple mole that you could remove. And he wasn't there. It turns out he wasn't a doctor. I've been visiting him for years. Going to his house. He's been examining me. We've been hanging out together. He knows my family. And he wasn't just some homeless guy squatting in a house.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was a doctor's office.
It's reasonable.
We all did.
We all did.
So, anyways, thanks to the iPhone 11, I was able to go find a real doctor, have the mole removed. I no longer have the 3rd nipple. Yeah. And also, this is 2 points. The nipple removal, and then the second point, also number 40, it made me aware that my doctor was not a doctor.
And that's, I think, more, that's offering more value in terms of healthcare than I've gotten from my Samsung A70.
Right.
But we'll see.
It's the healthcare provider's choice of a phone.
Absolutely.
If I can say that.
So number 41 for me was a real eye-opener, because previously when I had used cell phones, I used them to make phone calls. But the thing about the iPhone 11 is that I don't use it to make many phone calls.
Okay.
Because it's so good at doing video calls that I think, why would I need to phone someone? So I like to take the opportunity of, when I'm having a bowel movement, to give someone a call, because I think I'm not doing anything. And I can use that 2 to 3 hours to, get some business done, no pun intended.
Oh, okay.
So, but now the fact that I can do it over a video call, it's just, it's now that I can look somebody in the eye while pinching that huge loaf.
Really let them know. Say, this is happening. I used to do this.
I always
over
knew
the
they could
earphone.
hear the splash through the phone anyways.
They would
but
assume it, but now they know.
But now they can see me wince when the cold water,
Does a little bit of a cleaning, a little bidet job.
yes.
I don't know why people buy bidets when you can simply let the water do its job.
If you push hard enough, you don't need a bidet.
Not at all. Guys, we cannot talk about the iPhone 11 without first talking about its width. Now, why did the iPhone 11 go with that width?
So
I already know we talked about.
when I pulled it out of the box, I
Yeah.
thought, okay, 18 inches is a little bit big. It's long.
Yeah.
It's as long as my arm. But it has a presence. I don't feel that I'm going to lose this phone. Also, if I drop it, it's not very far to the ground.
That's fantastic. That's actually the safety measure that they put in place. They said we want this to be impossible to drop, and so we're going to make it so long that you literally have to get on a ladder or a chair
It's essentially
to
touching
have
the floor.
it hit the floor.
So number 43 for me is important, and it's something I'm going to be looking for in a phone from here on out,
Okay.
without question.
Okay.
And that is the iPhone 11 can be used to play checkers. Now it's a free app
Okay.
that you can download from the Apple Play Store. And the thing I like about checkers is that it's not as complicated as chess. Okay? All the pieces perform the same functions unless you're kinged. And the thing that I always found confusing about chess was that there's a spatial awareness that I always had a bit of difficulty with. Because I'd be looking at my knight going, okay, it can move in the shape of an L. Can I go there? Oh, wait, no, sorry. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's the L. Okay, hold on. And I just found myself struggling with spatial awareness in that sense. So I went to a doctor, and he did a few different tests on me to find out, if I had any sort of cognitive, disabilities. And for the most part, I'm fine. But when it comes to spatial awareness, I'm very bad at judging distance.
Oh.
So, for example, I'll be driving in the car, and I'll slam on the brakes, and my wife will go, whoa, 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 wait, my ex-wife at the time would go, why are you slamming on the brakes? And I say, well, I was about to hit that car. And she'll go, well, that car is like 2 kilometers away. And I'd be like, whoa, I thought it was right there. I thought it was right there. So the thing I like about checkers is I'm just looking from here to there. Like, I can understand this square is right there. But chess for me, and that's why I'm so bad at bocce ball.
Okay.
Because I'd be looking and be like, okay, I got to throw this red ball towards that little white ball, and I would end up getting like on a train and going like 3 hours to London, Ontario, and then dropping the ball off like in an abandoned like Sears.
Oh.
And then my friends would be calling me going, where are you? And I would say, well, I'm trying to win bocce ball. And they say, you missed it by hundreds of kilometers. Yeah. And the fact that I can play checkers on the iPhone 11 with ease,
Man,
unparalleled.
that's a
I will be looking for a checkers app on all future phones.
That's a barrier breaker. I gotta talk about the fact that they have juvenized. They've brought back to life a
Yeah.
thought extinct language. Talking about the cave language. For
Yeah.
so long, people have forgotten, but we haven't been using it. Our culture's really been stripped from us when they took away our language as Norwegian cave people. And so when they came out with a name like iPhone 11, no, I will phone you. No, they just
No,
iPhone.
Yeah.
It's so primal. It's so real. And I thought that's courage, guys. We're taking back our white culture. We were cavemen once. We lived in the caves and we talked like that. That's where English comes from. People always wonder, where did English come from? Guys, it came from the cave people. And the cave people just, they lacked a certain nuance, but I want to get back to that. And I love texting. This is going to be my next point too. Texting further does that, number 45. If you watched how children are texting,
Communicating solely through hieroglyphics.
iPhone is taking it back. Communicate through pictures.
Absolutely.
Talk to each other through symbols. Simplify, stupid. Proper grammar, out the window. Forget about that. Hey, if you try to talk normally, doesn't matter if you make a mistake. You don't have to learn.
No. Reading hurts my brain.
And then we're seeing kids they communicate it's worse than they've communicated for generations. And white people are winning back our language as Neanderthals.
So I want to move on to number 46 here.
Okay.
And we can't talk about the iPhone 11 without talking about butternut squash soup.
Not at all.
So-
Not at all.
When I make butternut squash soup, obviously I get generally one really big butternut squash, but 2 sweet potatoes. Because they're orange, they blend very well, right? Like it makes it the really rich orange color. So obviously we have some chicken broth in there because you need some liquid, and I usually put in 1 white onion.
Oh.
But what the iPhone 11 does is it gives me the ability to take a picture of the soup and send it to my mother-in-law and say, #autumn, #cozy. And I wasn't able to do that with my Nintendo DS. I wasn't able to do that with my Game Boy Advance, or my Game Boy Advance SP, or my Game Boy Color, or my Game Boy Pocket, or the original Game Boy DMG model, the gray one with the purple buttons. And so, in hindsight, was I expecting handheld Nintendo devices to behave as mobile phones? Maybe. Was that unfair? Maybe. But the fact that I can use fun fall hashtags with the iPhone 11 while sending people pictures of my incredible butternut squash soup is unparalleled.
I think it's an important thing to note. Sometimes when you're talking about the benefits of something, you have to look at, because we don't give Apple enough credit for what they've done. We got to look at the things that can't do the things that it can do.
Right, and this takes us to 47.
No, 47. A blender cannot do what my phone can do.
No.
It cannot do it.
The phone can't do what the blender does.
No, but 2 different worlds entirely. They stick in their own lane. That's what I like with the iPhone 11.
Yeah.
They said, we're not going to blend fruit. We're going to be a fruit.
Absolutely.
Apple. But then you have a blender. I was in the kitchen with my mom. She's like, Jamie, I need you to call your grandmother, my Baba, and tell her to come to dinner. And I said, great. And I started to look around, and there's a blender. And I said, Mom, this is not going to work to call Baba. And she said, yeah, no, use your phone. And I said, that's it. That's what iPhone 11 has done. Even my own mom knows a blender can't do what a phone does.
And that takes me to 48, which is that it's the ease of access. Anybody can pick up an iPhone and the iPhone 11, and they immediately know how to use it.
Yeah.
Like I have found in the past that I would open up my new phone, and I just wouldn't know how to use it.
And now you do.
And now I know how to do that.
That's fantastic. It's the ease. It's accessible. It's accessible. I believe, honestly, you could take an iPhone and you could give it to a person from the 1920s, and they would most likely use it as a coaster.
Totally. 49, I think, was exciting for both of us because
Probably the most exciting one before we get past it to the up. We're getting better.
we're getting into into the serious stuff
Yeah.
here. But the thing about 49 was that it's fun. The iPhone 11 is it's fun to use.
Yeah.
Like, it's more fun than, say, playing with like a rock, because a rock doesn't do much. So 50 is maybe not something that everybody will be excited about.
No, just the people who are born without a limb.
Exactly, and that's the iPhone 11. For the first time, you can make phone calls with only one hand.
Fantastic.
The thing that I hated about the iPhone 10, I didn't hate it, but the thing that was disappointing is that you had to hold the mouthpiece in this hand and the earpiece in this hand. And the iPhone 11 has done away with that. Now, yes, the iPhone 10 Plus was at least wireless.
At least.
But with the original setup, it was kind of like holding your Wiimote with the nunchuck, and I did not like it.
No, they had to do something, and they did something great.
That's the thing. They had to do a thing, and they decided to do the thing instead of not doing the thing. And then so those things are where we've gotten this stuff, and that's how I like this things.
Let's talk about stands. The iPhone 11 has a great feature because a lot of people were saying, I want to prop it up, I want to watch it while I'm eating some cereal in the morning. And usually in the days past, you would go and get yourself a box of cereal, you go and get yourself a bowl, something to lean it up against. And then iPhone 11 did something so incredible. I don't know if you know this, you can take an iPhone 11 and you can prop up your iPhone 11 with it.
Oh, with the second iPhone 11.
You buy a second iPhone 11, and it's a little bit tricky, but you put it on a perfect angle, and you put it like this, like a little pyramid, like you're stacking cards.
Right.
And I found it's so effective. And bonus tip: put both videos on the exact same time, double the loudness.
I had read about kickstand mode that it's hard to find in the menu, but you basically just go to settings, accessibility, and then there's a kickstand mode that you can activate, and then it's
The second you activate it, it builds you and it sends you the second iPhone 11 for you to prop it up with.
So 52 is great because, number 52, because this is more applicable now than ever before, which is that the iPhone 11 is able to access the internet. Yes, phones have been able to do this for a long time, but the fact that they didn't take this feature away is incredibly helpful because now more than ever people are at home. Some people are doing school online, they're working from home, and there's a lot of interaction through the internet only. The fact that they took a lot away from the iPhone 11. There's no wheels, there's no antenna,
There's no steering wheel.
there's no
Seats to sit in.
There's no seats.
It's not even close to a car.
It bears almost no resemblance to a car, other than the fact that it's somewhat of a rectangle.
Yeah.
But
and the glass screen. Let's be honest.
Which is
credit where credit's due.
It's kind of like a windshield.
It has a glass.
It is like a windshield.
If you put a picture of a road, it would look a little bit like the windshield.
Yes, it would. But the fact that they decided to keep internet capabilities while also removing a lot of those other things, I just think it's like they knew, hey, people are going to need the internet. Am I saying that Apple created the virus? Yes, I'm saying that.
That brings us to the next point.
Yes.
53, it's not a car. Now, I wanted to say this because there are a lot of people out there who are against driving because of pollution, but let's just talk about deaths by cars.
Well, that's the thing is, you get drunk and you call somebody, nobody dies.
Nobody dies. You get drunk, you drive a car.
Worst case, you send them a picture of your penis. But you cannot get in an iPhone and drive it into the side of an Arby's.
Every year, 50 plus people, 50 plus, I know the number is more than 50, die from car accidents.
At least 50.
At least 50. And Apple said, we're not a part of that party. We're not a part of that. We're not going to build a car. We're not going to add. We're not going to do that.
We're not. No.
We're making a phone.
Well, and that brings me to 54. It's like I think it is okay to say that something I like about the iPhone 11 is that it isn't something else. Which is like the thing I like about you is that you're not my friend Dave.
Yeah.
Dave is mean. I don't like him. Yeah. So I think it's okay for me to say you're not like Dave, and that's why I like you.
I think that's a wonderful reason. I sometimes hate somebody so much that even somebody awful next to them, I'm like, yeah, they're okay.
Exactly, and that's why 54. So I'm just so pleased to say that an iPhone 11 is not a den of snakes.
A puppy murderer.
It's not a puppy murderer.
Yeah.
It's not a series of angry hornets.
It's not a multi-billion-dollar company that gets out of taxes and enslaves people in different countries who work ridiculous hours for no money.
It's a rectangle that makes phone calls, and you can use it to listen to Blink-182. You can use it to listen to Jan Arden. And that actually brings me to number 5, is that...
55.
55. It's two fives. It brings me to number 55, which is that the iPhone 11 is able to play music by Jan Arden.
No way.
This is just something that the iPhone 10 could do, but I didn't do at the time.
That just sets off fireworks in my head.
I am just starting to get
Yes!
into Jan Arden, and this is perfect. I think that's one of the things, frankly, that upset me about the Nintendo Switch is that it could not play Jan Arden.
Yeah, that's why I didn't buy one. I went into the store and
I know.
I know what I was saying, listen, I know you're a 17-year-old kid, probably in high school, doesn't know this, but I said, can this play Jane Arden? And he said to me, he looked me in the face, and said, you go get yourself an iPhone 11.
Exactly. And I remember you calling me and saying like, so let me get this straight. The Nintendo Switch is $399 Canadian.
Yeah.
It can't play Jan Arden, and it doesn't have custom Jan Arden Joy-Cons as an option. I have to get gray or red and blue.
Or do some decals yourself at home.
I'm not going to make homemade Jan Arden Joy-Con decals. That's insane. The iPhone 11 at least lets me listen to her. I can look at the album art.
Yeah.
Without Jan Arden, what am I?
Honestly, I don't even know.
And that brings us to number 56, actually, which is about personal identity.
Yeah.
Because we're almost at a point where I feel that I am basically just a product of Apple. I have bought so many Apple products in my life, from the iPhone 11 to fritters to pie to Cortland's, Granny Smith's, Pink Ladies, Jazz, Red Delicious. I've bought so many different versions of apples in my life that at this point, I'm completely indistinguishable from the company.
You are what you eat. In a funny way, if you had invested that money into the company in stocks,
yes.
you'd be a part owner.
Let's talk about investments, because I think that's number 57.
Definitely. Apple gives you a great opportunity to invest. So when you go and you buy yourself a $6,000 phone, you think, wow, I'm going to own a part of this company.
But it's actually already lost 50% of its value the second you open the box.
Yeah, so what they actually are, they're hoping is that if people will continue to buy their stuff, their stock will continue to rise. So
Yes.
you can buy their stock, which will make it rise even more. And it perpetuates a system of buying more and more Apple, and then eventually people who care, because they have so much built into Apple, they have to keep investing. It's like fine art. I was watching a documentary on Netflix about fine art and students, and they were saying how people who buy Banksy, or not Banksy, what's the guy? He has the soup can guy. What's the soup can guy?
Andy Warhol.
Andy Warhol. So people were buying Warhols, and then the price started to plummet. And they had 50 Warhols in their warehouse, and they said to themselves, if this Warhol up for auction sells for $10,000, well then all of my Warhols that I bought for $100,000 are only worth $10,000. So now I must go and invest.
They had to buy the
So they
the
pushed
Warhol.
the price up, and they would buy
Exactly.
it for $300,000. But then guess what? When they bought that Warhol for $300,000, their 10 Warhols in their home are now each worth $300,000. So their investment went up in the world. But it's fake numbers. That's what Apple is doing to us.
Well, and that brings me to number 58, which is that it's just the community of people that use iPhones is incredible. I've been going online and buying people's iPhone 11s for that exact reason. And everybody is more than happy to sell to me for double the price that they paid at retail. And you do not get that support. I bought a Nintendo DS, the 2006 gray model, with the smaller screen and the thicker body. I bought one of those on Kijiji for maybe a quarter of the price of what it cost in 2006 when my parents gave it to me for Christmas with Super Mario 64 DS. And they were more than willing to sell it to me for a quarter of the price. And I thought, okay, so you just brought down the price of my original Nintendo DX from 2006 with Super Mario 64 DS and the zip-up case? I'm not about that. iPhone users are more than willing, and they're happy, they're thrilled to sell me their old iPhones for more than what they paid originally at retail.
Definitely. Number 59, 2 words, thick knife.
Absolutely.
I've been trying to cut things up in my kitchen, and every blade's very thin. It's doing little fine cuts. I said, I just need something abrasive. I need something just to get right in there, a thick knife. And I was trying to look all over my house, what metal objects do I have that are just thick? And I went and I looked at my iPhone 11. I said, maybe. I said, maybe. And I just took it, and I had a piece of cake. And then just maybe. And I pushed, and I compressed a thin strip into my loaf of cake, and it separated it. And at the end of it, underneath my phone, on a little edge, was compressed cake. and that was a tasty, firm little bite. And I was able to lick the side of my phone. Guys, if you want a great thick knife, iPhone 11, fantastic.
Have you tried on anything firmer than cake, like say cheese?
Cheese does work. It's a little bit more, breaks it up. I tried on steak the other day. Not the best.
No.
I'm going to be I'm hoping, not a sponsored video, so we're also going to be a little bit negative here. Apple, maybe think about making it a little sharper so we can get through a steak with our phones.
Absolutely.
iPhone 12, a proper thick steak knife.
Absolutely. Number 61 is something that I didn't think about when I bought my iPhone 11, but had I been aware of it, it would have made me even more excited to open up the box. And that was the foam insert. The phone is inside of a box, but there's actually an insert that's molded approximately to the shape and size of the phone that prevents it from jiggling around inside the box.
That's fantastic.
You'll notice when you buy, like, say, a small crate of, like, clementines or figs, is that they kind of just rattle around inside. This is where I'll take an iPhone 11 over a box of figs anytime. Which is that it is snug inside the box.
Unless you're starving, but then definitely.
If I was hungry, yeah, I'd probably want the figs. But if I want to use Instagram or make phone calls, I'm gonna lean towards the iPhone 11.
Every time.
No disrespect to figs, they are popular in Israel, not so much here.
Every time. I gotta talk about something. iPhone 11 is a futuristic device. And I was a little bit afraid when I was buying this, because I've been watching a lot of future aids, Star Wars, Star Trek, all this sci-fi, fantasy, and there's always these force fields. You try and get through a jail and you zap your finger, or you try and pick up something and there's some sort of curse on it, or there's some sort of electrical current around it, and I can't get at it. And so I was pleasantly surprised when I opened up my iPhone 11 that they have deactivated that, so that I can easily be safe, especially if you have kids at home. If you have a kid at home, if you have a force field around your phone and you leave it around, not remembering that you have a small 3-year-old child, he meanders over, he wipes his hand over top of it, his hand blows to smithereens, just blood everywhere, baby blood, and it's like, I don't want that happening in my home. And I've baby-proofed my home for a reason.
They haven't made it clear that it has force field capabilities, but boy are we glad that the default setting is for it to be deactivated.
Because think of the amount of lives. Apple 11 saving lives once again.
I think this also speaks a little more to some accessibility features that we were thrilled about, which is number 63 is that animals can't use this phone.
No.
Not only does it require face or fingerprint identification, but there just are no features in place for, say, a bird to use this phone.
Because I'm scared of them. I'm scared of them, and I'm scared what they could do with this technology.
Well, there's been times where I've left my phone sitting somewhere where it's easily accessible to a seagull, to a dog, to any number of animals. And do we want to live in a world where a seagull can pick up my phone and call KFC directly to order food? No, of course not. Because it's bad enough that I see a seagull eating scraps of somebody's hot dog on the sidewalk, or picking through like they got a coffee cup or something like that. But I don't want for birds to be able to order food for themselves. I don't think the market's ready for it, and I think Apple knows that.
Definitely. Number 64, Apple 11 is replacing the coin flip. A lot of people are curious. Yes. Guys, pennies are gone. If you live in Canada, we don't have pennies anymore. Guys, nickels are next. Then dimes, then quarters. Then what's next? A loonie? Then a toonie, and then we don't have coins.
Then what? The $5 bill is gone.
They've got. Eventually, we're going to go to a card, and then people are going to be having sporting events saying, "Who goes first?" And the answer is, we'll have no idea. If it's not for the iPhone 11, that's why the iPhone 11's front is different than the back, because you can flip it. Thank you, Apple 11.
I think we can speak a little bit more to the physical design. We've talked a lot about the technology within, but something physical about the iPhone that I really appreciate, this brings us to number 65, is that it's not covered in spikes, it's not covered in weird bumps, it's not covered in slime, it's not burning hot or freezing cold. It's easy for me to hold it. I for example, would find it very difficult to make a phone call if this was shaped like a pineapple.
Yeah. I think you're saying two real points here, guys. The first one we want to talk about, which is number 65, it's smooth.
It's very smooth.
It's comfortable to hold. It's not spiky. It's not cutting your face. And then number 2, you mentioned it there.
Number 66.
Temperature. If this was boiling hot or freezing cold,
How would you hold it?
you would like listen. I don't want to get stuck to my ear. I don't want to tuck. What if I touch my tongue to it and it gets stuck in the
And
cold?
you also don't want to burn your flesh,
And so I think they worked really hard on like finding the right temperature for this phone.
which is about 36 degrees
36, yeah.
Celsius.
Yeah, 36 Celsius is the right temperature for a phone to be sitting at.
Totally.
It's just enough to keep your buns nice and toasty if you put in the back pocket. It's just enough to kill a little bit of your future if you put it in your front pocket.
Absolutely. Number 67 was...
I'm super excited that the iPhone 11, they didn't choose wood.
No, the fact that they made it out of metal, it just means it's much more durable.
Yeah, it's also helpful for the environment, and I like that a lot. Because they had a choice, and they went for something more durable.
Absolutely.
Long-lasting.
So number 69 is something that I've been looking for in a phone for a really long time, and that is the ability to take pictures of my house.
Okay.
I've always been able to take pictures of my friends and family, but I've never been able to take a good picture of the exterior of my house. And I just found that the iPhone 11 has really good house exterior capabilities. For my house, at least. I don't know about your house, but...
I think that's a little personal, Mark, but we'll let it in. The next thing I want to talk about, this has got a hefty weight to it. And I want to tell a personal story that this iPhone 11, they've designed a self-protection feature into it. So I was walking down the harsh streets of downtown Toronto, and a gentleman came up to me, a homeless man, and he comes up to me aggressive, and he says, "Excuse me, do you know where the mall is?" And I said, "Who are you to talk to me?" And I had my iPhone 11 in my hand, and I just hit him. I just smacked him right in the temple. As hard as I could, right with the corner. And guess what? He fell, and my iPhone 11 was perfect.
Perfectly fine. That actually brings us to number 71, which is that because the iPhone... That actually brings us to number 71, which is that finally Apple had the courage to say, hey, what if a phone was 10 pounds? What if it was 15 pounds? What if it was
22
pounds? The iPhone 11, and I also like that it's double 11.
Yeah.
So it's almost like for every version of the iPhone, they decide to make it 2 pounds in terms of weight. And so it's great for a lot of reasons. One, it's a lot harder to lose because you will notice if there's not 22 pounds in your bag. But also you can use it to weigh things down. I've seen people tie their dog to it. I've seen people put tether a child to it.
I've seen people working out with them in the gym.
Oh yeah, I've seen people double curling iPhone 11s.
Phone in the gym. Everybody has their phone in the gym nowadays.
And health is kind of has been the focus of 2020, the way that we've been at home so much. And so the fact that you can just be benching your iPhone 11 is pretty cool.
I want to talk about 72. An iPhone 11 makes any space your personal studio space. I want to give an example. I went to a public park the other day. Beautiful. Everybody's serene, relaxing, enjoying themselves. And I wanted to go to a public gazebo where we were all sitting. And I walked in, and there was 2 young ladies having a yoga session, filming themselves with a light, their iPhone 11, and they were just doing their workouts and smiling, doing little poses for Instagram. And I thought to myself, I want to be in this room right now and enjoy it.
But it can't.
But I'll be in their frame and in their shot. And they gave me a really dirty look for coming in there and being a part of this public place. And I said, this is their studio space. And iPhone 11 has allowed that to happen.
Absolutely. I think it would be doing a disservice to the fans of Tech Tips with James if number 73, we did not discuss the comparisons between the iPhone 11 and Genghis Khan.
Yep.
We look at the iPhone 11 and we go, this is a contemporary piece of technology. We look at Genghis Khan and we think, okay, this is a Mongolian warlord who had over 5,000 children. And so I like the idea that the iPhone 11, I like the fact that 1 in 5 people on the planet Earth is not a direct descendant of Genghis Khan, of the iPhone 11. Versus Genghis Khan, it's like, well, I think a lot of people...
It feels more inclusive.
It feels more... Yeah, it does. I like that the iPhone 11 has not found its way into our DNA yet, and I just appreciate that. The thing about 74 is that you wanted it to come earlier. I thought we should do it later so we could ease people into it. And that is that the iPhone 11 is inedible. It cannot be accidentally consumed like a discarded peanut butter sandwich or some leftover... crispy beef.
It's not foolproof. It's like the fences on a suicide bridge. People can climb it if they want to.
Yes, if you're willing,
it slows it down.
If you're committed, it can be.
Could you eat this? Yes, but
yes.
They make it really hard.
They make it really hard, which just means it just lends itself to durability. It's going to last longer. It can't be eaten.
Yeah, that's so important. And I also think that brings us to the next point, that it can't eat you.
Yes.
I just think that was such a smart move. Robots are the future, and they are going to kill us one day.
They will take over.
And so the fact that they said, we're going to make a powerful robot, no arms, no legs, no mouth, no genitalia to reproduce.
No lasers.
They really just, no lasers. They really just said, hey, we're going to make this one be, if it turns on us, hey, we can beat this one.
Totally. So number 76 is something that I was so pleased when I saw it in the instruction manual, which is that the length of the iPhone 11 is comparable to a good-sized grapefruit. So the thing that's great is that if I'm somewhere where I don't have access to a grapefruit, but I want to know if the grapefruit will fit, I can just pull out my iPhone 11 and go, okay, you know what? I can tell this grapefruit is going to fit in this bag. Because if I'm buying a new knapsack, I want to know, how many grapefruits am I going to get in here, and I'm able to eyeball that just by pulling out my iPhone 11.
Yeah. Number 77, it's waterproof.
Number 78 for me is that the iPhone 11 is a physical object versus an idea. I would have been really upset if I paid $6,000 for someone to say iPhone 11 and then me just go home and it be an idea.
What a concept.
Yeah. Oh, what a concept. But the fact that it's a physical object that I own.
Potential, but not realized. That is the most frustrating thing in the world.
Yes.
They realized that.
I remember when they invented Space Horse and, everybody wanted it. So we all went, we paid our $700 deposit, and then they just said, now you have the knowledge of the Space Horse. And I said, but I don't have the Space Horse. And they said, yes, but it's in your brain now. Yeah. And that is a gift. So I'm just thankful that
it's a physical object. That's the
it's a physical object.
Number 79. This is I gotta go back a little story for this one. My brother Joey, when I was younger, we used to have flip phones, video game, everything, and he had a fascination with kissing my electronic devices. I don't know what was going on, but he would take my flip phone and he would make out with it. And I caught him doing this one day, and I was so grossed out because I'm like, man, why are you kissing my phone? Why are you kissing my phone, Joey? The new iPhone 11. You see this smudge on the screen. So if you have a brother at home or a sister or a friend who has a fascination with making it with your phone or any device,
you can at least tell they've been doing it.
You can at least see, and then you can wipe it clean, because that's kiss it. But at least let me know.
Absolutely. Number 80 was really exciting for me because when I saw Shrek 3, I thought, okay, the series is dead. This is the weak link. I don't care about the babies. I don't care about Lancelot. This is not for me. I didn't even finish it. Okay? Shrek 4 comes along. Rumpelstiltskin, time travel, John Hamm's character Brogan, the leader of the ogre tribe. I thought, okay, we're back in business here. So when I started watching Shrek 4 on my iPhone 11 a few nights ago, I was pleasantly reminded that many series have a weak link. Did we all like Temple of Doom? No. Did we all really like Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade? Yes. If we had given up at Temple of Doom, we never would have made it to 1989. We never would have had The Last Crusade. And so I kind of feel the same way about Shrek 4. And and I just think it's great that the iPhone 11 was able to remind me of what it means to be a true fan.
Definitely.
We take the good with the bad. Did Michael Jackson have albums that weren't good? No, they were all great. But Shrek 3 was not good.
Definitely. Let's talk about something. I think that the iPhone 11 in a lot of ways is the missing link. I'm so happy here because, listen, you had the iPhone 10, and one day we're going to have the iPhone 12.
And we all had literally no idea what that was going to be.
And really, did you need a phone in between those two variations? Is there enough differences?
Yes.
Potentially. But the thing that would have been most annoying is not, maybe they could have skipped the 11, but once I got to the 12, I'd be thinking to myself, how do we get from here to here? When the iPhone 10 came out, we went from the 8 to the 10, and I said,
whoa, what's happening here?
And I said, this is too much of an improvement. This is too much of an improvement. And then I was like, we need to see the link. We need to see, how do we get from here to here? And I will pay $10,000 to see the process.
Well, and I think that's why I appreciate the Game Boy Advance SP so much, because with the Game Boy Advance, there was no light-up screen. You had to buy the worm light. But with the DS, we had two screens and it was illuminated. If we had gone Game Boy Advance to the Nintendo DS And now I'm not even talking about the Game Boy Advance Micro, which did have a light-up screen, but it could only play Game Boy Advance games, not Game Boy Color.
But this is pertinent. This is important.
Exactly. So, but that Game Boy Advance SP is not entirely unlike the iPhone 11, which is that it introduced all these elements that we know were going to be in the 12, that we knew we were going to want out of the Nintendo DS, out of that next generation of handheld consoles. But the main difference, obviously, between the Game Boy Advance SP and the iPhone 11 is that the iPhone 11 cannot play Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland, which, as we all know, is just an HD reimagining of the original Kirby's Adventures in Dreamland for the NES, but it introduces more abilities, 16-bit graphics, better sound, and it's widescreen.
That's fantastic. I would say that's an 82. It's kind of like the SP.
It's similar
It's
to the
kinda
SP,
like
but
the
not so similar that I thought, hey, the iPhone 11 is just a rehash of the Game Boy Advance SP.
Yeah.
Which I think brings us to number 83, which is that the iPhone 11 is also not just a rehash of I Love Lucy.
Not at all.
Like, yes, we had I Love Lucy in the 50s. It was groundbreaking. But then once we got to the Lucy show, people, I think just they weren't as invested in the character.
And iPhone said, no, we're not doing that.
No, we're not going to
We're
do.
not gonna rehash
It's not going to be I Love
Lucy.
Lucy. It's not the Lucy show. It's literally
its own
a
thing.
mobile phone. It's its own thing.
I
Which
also love the fact that you said something. This screen does light up. Can we just say that for a second? Number 84, the screen does light up.
I don't even understand how it does it because I didn't have to. I never had to
my
change the light bulb.
I used to take my phone. And I used to take my flashlight, and I used to shine it on it.
It was infuriating
This
to
is it.
use your phone in the
And
dark.
now I can be in the dark. I can be in the light. Actually, it's kind of hard to see in the light, but in the dark, I can see my screen.
Absolutely. So number 85, I think really took the whole world by storm. It really rocked the scene as far as mobile phones, which is that the iPhone is mobile. It's mobile.
You can go anywhere.
It's not wired to the wall like the iPhone 10, which, had to have the Ethernet cable and the
HDMI,
coaxial cable, HDMI,
The MXR to the 573.
the RCA.
And I had to put in an XLR cable. I remember one time I put in my patch cord into it. It was just
Absolutely. The fact that the iPhone 11 is completely cordless
that's fantastic.
is to me just, it's unrivaled.
Also, at number 86, the iPhone 11 is the new lighter at concerts. You go to a concert, the light goes in the air. What are we putting in the air nowadays? Our iPhone 11s.
And I think that takes us to 87, which is that because people don't need to carry lighters anymore, they aren't able to light their cigarettes. And because of that, smoking is pretty much non-existent anymore. People no longer smoke cigarettes because they are addicted to their iPhones.
You like that? You had to fight an addiction with an addiction. And
Absolutely.
iPhone knew that. They said we need to do something about this.
Exactly. They looked at the people that were getting lung cancer because of the carcinogens in cigarettes. And they looked at Steve Jobs, who actively denied medical treatment for his cancer and thought instead that he could cure himself with a holistic diet of mostly fruit. And everybody said, hey, Steve, you're like a billionaire. Maybe you should, consider chemotherapy. And he said, no, I'm just going to eat fruit. And the thing is, this is real. And then he died. So they looked at all that and said, well, okay, let's make the iPhone 11 so people no longer smoke cigarettes.
I like that.
If I could speak to number 88, it's that, yes, there are massive forest fires happening all across the earth right now. In California, in Brazil, but the iPhone 11 is not responsible for them.
That's great.
Which I think is, and actually that brings us to number 89, which is that,
not a lot of people can say that.
no, and not a lot of people, I think we're all a little bit culpable in the forest fires. The iPhone 11 is not to blame, which brings us to number 89, which is that, how many victims did Ted Bundy have? A lot. How many of those can we blame on the iPhone 11? The iPhone 11 wasn't even invented yet.
One at
So
most.
Ted Bundy is out there pretending to have a broken arm, trying to get a girl to help him, put a canoe into his truck, and next thing you know, he's murdering her. Where does the iPhone 11 fit in there? Nowhere. The company is just spotless.
That's integrity. That's integrity.
That's integrity that you just don't get with, for example, my Samsung A70.
I think too, like the powerhouse that this little device is in the hands of a 12-year-old. I think that the greatest minds, the greatest cinematographers in this world did not have access to this type of technology and cameras to make movies like The Godfather.
Right.
And now you have a 12-year-old with that, and they are able to go and just create and just be creative. And you've seen, I don't have to tell you, Mark, the masterpieces that have come out. TikTok, the Vines, the YouTube, this video right now, guys. Everything has been made possible because your phone is enough. And this has told kids, you don't need school.
Don't need writing.
You don't need talent. You don't need
You
writing.
don't know how to read.
You don't even know how to read.
What's editing?
Nothing. Take this and go. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
So, 91, I think we should talk about backwards compatibility.
Definitely.
Because the iPhone 11 is actually able to make calls to the iPhone 10.
I've actually heard rumor it can go as far back as the iPhone 7.
Which, okay.
A phone call made from an iPhone 11, we're talking
Yeah.
not one, not two, but 3 generations of phone it can call.
Like, we look at the Nintendo Wii in 2006, which was able to play GameCube games and had 4 ports on top for GameCube controllers. The Wii U comes along in 2011 and, oh, surprise, it can only play Wii games. It can no longer play the GameCube games, okay? Backwards compatibility has been an issue for all kinds of companies, but not for Apple.
Yeah, number 92, in the same vein of thought, it allows you to connect with a younger you. Honestly, my iPhone 11, it brings me back to a time when I was young, when I was dreaming, when I was big, because you know why? Because I can dial my number. And 2017, Jamie picks up on his iPhone 7.
Exactly.
And I say, hey, how are you doing? And he goes, who is this? And I say, it's you from the future. And he goes,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And I say, you don't know about this yet, but there's going to come a phone and it's going to change your life.
Yeah.
I hope that you just do exactly what you're doing, because whatever you're doing, one day is going to lead to you purchasing an iPhone 11.
And making YouTube videos.
About that.
I think what you of the past doesn't realize is that you will spend money to make videos on YouTube
Yeah.
that do not make you money.
That nobody watches.
That very few people. I've watched maybe half of them.
And then even then, like, do they commit? Do they really invest?
I don't
in
even
it?
always watch the
They
whole
listen
video.
to every word. Yeah, like we have taken time and effort, and it's not just now. This has been something right now sitting here for this video today, but it's the years of experience and training. We went to school. We performed in movies and television and commercials, and we've written for TV. Both of us have, and we brought it here, and we're giving it to them, and they're not even going to watch.
And the thing I like with that is that the iPhone 11 will never be ashamed of us the way that our parents are.
No. Number 3, the iPhone 11 doesn't make you feel bad about yourself.
No.
What
What it does do is it allows you to take really clear pictures of yourself and post them on the internet for people to then judge your physical appearance. But the iPhone 11 doesn't judge your physical appearance.
No.
The iPhone 11
It is the caveat for judgment to come.
Exactly. The iPhone 11 never told me that I look like Topher Grace with somehow even less muscle definition. Okay? The iPhone 11 never told me that I was just a less handsome version of Tobey Maguire. Okay? The iPhone 11 never told me that I should consider working out because I look like a ball of pizza dough poured into a cardigan. The iPhone 11 never did that. Okay?
It's interesting that go back a little while, talking 10, 15 years, you didn't have to be photogenic as a regular person.
No.
There was like 30 world models and superstars that had to be photogenic for their job. But everybody else, you took 1, maybe 3 photos a year for work, for Christmas, for family. And even then, if it was bad, you just kind of laughed at it because like, oh, it's a bad photo. But now,
It was a candid photo.
now there's 1,000 photos of you. And if most of those look bad, you're unphotogenic and you got to do something about it.
And you can end up in the background of somebody else's photo just by happenstance. But because the photo is so high definition, you're actually getting cropped out of someone else's candid photo and being turned into a meme, being mocked on Reddit and Twitter because of the way you dressed when you didn't even know you were going to be in a photo.
Yeah, somebody is in the background of a photo more clear thanks to the iPhone 11 than my mother has pictures of herself as a teenager.
Exactly. And I think that brings us to number 94, which is that our mothers did not have an iPhone 11 when they were teenagers. Apple had the forethought to say, we are not going to invent this and for another 35
Not
years.
yet. Patience.
Because
Patience.
if our moms had iPhone 11s, they would have been on TikTok and Snapchat taking pictures and videos that would have embarrassed us so badly in the present.
I just think about the developmental issues if my mother was on TikTok. Like,
She would not even have been able to hold down a job, let alone raise a child. You would be dead in the gutter as an infant if your mother had an iPhone 11.
I'm so thankful that Apple decided, an integrity move. They said, listen, we're going to leave this generation alone. Let them have a normal childhood. Let them grow up with good parents.
Let's ruin the millennials.
Let's kill the millennials.
Absolutely.
Let's have an experiment with millennials. And then we're going to watch and laugh at that.
I think that brings us to number 95, which is murder.
Murder, yeah.
Murder has been around since the 1970s.
At least, yeah.
And the iPhone 11 has only been around since 2003. And as we're going into the 17th year of the iPhone 11, I think, wow, how great is it that all those murders from 1970 to 2003 were not caught on camera? Because I don't want to see those.
The lack of existence of the iPhone 11 at specific points in history is the sole reason why we didn't have to be faced with utter disgusting truth. 96, and I cannot stress this enough. My breath smells bad. I have halitosis. The classic way to smell your breath, but that doesn't work.
No.
The second way is you lick your skin and you smell it, but this is not a sterile thing. My hand could smell. I regularly wipe my bum with my left hand, and I can't say for certain that poo doesn't get past the toilet paper. So how do I do this? I take my clean, sterile metal phone, and I lick the back of it, wave it in the air, let it dry, and then I smell. The thick, crispy layer of saliva left over on the smooth, metallic back of my phone
Totally.
will emanate, will give off a scent of just putrid tongue fuzz. And it is so helpful in the business meetings I go to know that.
Yeah.
I gotta say this, I'm gonna jump ahead, number 97, a tongue scraper. People don't know this. This goes along with it. I can then take the phone after I've seen it and I smell it smells bad.
Yeah.
I stick out my tongue and I scrape off the top layer of my tongue.
Totally.
It's just that gross little like white creamy stuff that gets there. And it has been fantastic for my dental hygiene.
And your personal relationships.
I've had
I've been sitting here for well over an hour and I haven't been bothered at all.
You're joking.
No.
Guys, that
is
a
value
testament
that you don't get in
to
the
the highway
Samsung
level.
Galaxy A70.
Not at all. Not at all.
So, moving to number 98, something that the iPhone 11 does that no phone has done before it is it not only makes phone calls to your contact list,
Okay.
but it also makes phone calls to people that are not in your contacts list. I don't know if you remember, but when you got your first phone in 1987, and you wanted to phone a pizza, you had to go to the pizza,
Become friends.
with them, ask them for their phone number, put that contact in your phone, and then when you wanted to order pizza, you called that specific pizza. No. With the iPhone 11, I can just go onto Google, search any pizza, not even just pizza, Pizza Hut, Little Caesars, Domino's,
Guys, write
2
this
for
down.
$1.
Write this down.
Mama's Pizza. You're able to phone virtually any pizza place and order a pizza without having to be friends with them.
Can we just say that? I'm going to say, can Samsung do the same thing?
Yes.
Number 99. We're getting to the end, close to the end of this list now.
Yeah.
Guys. This is fantastic. I was going discus tossing with my friends, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen Olympic discus.
No.
It's a sport. It's a large, heavy metal disc. You throw it. There's actually it's a great story of a time when somebody threw a discus. You have to spin around. You throw it. It goes very far. And it went to the audience, and an audience member lifted up their hands to catch the discus. And the weight of the discus pushed back their fingers entirely, snapping them back. That person was named Sandra Piocani. Now, I have to back the story up a bit. Sandra Pielcani was a 7-year-old girl from Detroit Rock City. She was in a rock band up to about the age of 15 years old when she moved away from her family and no longer had use of their garage. That garage, pay attention to this, later on would be sold to a Mr. Stephen Jobs and his partners.
Whoa.
He, inside that garage, the legend goes that in the corner, this young lady had carved into the wall lyrics to a song called iPhone Heaven. And one of the lyrics in the song, because she was 11 years old when she wrote this, was iPhone 11. And the story goes that is why Steve Jobs named it iPhone 11. Now let's connect the story together.
So they had to work up. They knew they had to make all the other iPhones just to get to the 11.
To the 11 because guess
which
what?
is why they skipped 9 because they were getting impatient.
They wanted to get that, and then this is why the iPhone 11 is a cylindrical 22-pound disc in honor of that young girl snapping back her fingers and no longer be able to play music. They wanted to honor the lyrics on the wall. They wanted to do it, and that's why we get to hold it now, and that's why, take it. Do this at home. This is the best tech tip I can give you. Take your iPhone 11, go outside in the park, and just hurl it. Just whip it. Just throw it as hard as you can and watch it spin and watch it go. And maybe, just maybe, there'll be a young girl in the audience watching, and she'll lift up her fingers, and then you'll snap back her fingers. And then maybe she'll write a song, and you'll become the next Steve Jobs.
I think that brings us to
Number 100.
number 100, which is
That's our last point.
this is our last point.
Last point for the day. Listen, guys, I think this has been super informative and super great. We're going to get into our last point, guys, but I want to say a quick note. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe.
Yes.
Please subscribe to Mark also on YouTube. I'll put his link right here. Follow us on Instagram, Isaac, who's filmed and edited this. Thank you, Isaac. But yeah, subscribe, guys, because we want to make more content like this. And who knows? Maybe we'll make a second list, because I think I could just keep going.
Me too, totally.
But let's get number 100, Mark. You've been holding on to this from the beginning.
Yes, number 100.
Our final point for today, and our number 100 reason why we love the iPhone 11.
Before Chris Farley passed away, he recorded all the dialogue for Shrek.
Man.
When he passed away, they knew that not only would there probably be sequels, but they wouldn't even be able to go back and make corrections.
Yeah.
So they had to make the difficult decision to replace all the work he did with one of his SNL co-stars, Mike Myers.
Man.
Mike Myers came in and recorded all the dialogue for Shrek with a stereotypical Canadian accent.
I didn't know this. Yeah.
Yeah. When he finished, he recorded the entire movie, and then he said, "You know what? I think I'd like to do it Scottish."
I could do better.
So they actually redid the movie with the Scottish accent. Was that the right call? I don't know. Would it have been better with Chris Farley? We'll never know. But the fact is, that movie not only redefined what a computer animated film can be. Because before that, we'd only had Toy Story in 1995, Toy Story 2 in 1998, A Bug's Life in 1998. Yes, and they had Monsters, Inc. in 2000 as well. But Shrek really challenged all of us to say, hey, yeah, this movie is for kids, but there's jokes for adults. If you remember, the Ugly Stepsister was played by the Ugly Stepsisters were played by Regis Philbin and Larry King.
Also
And they were cross-dressers.
the little
That's not
guys,
for kids.
The little guys that you walk on the grass, you use your hand to wipe your.
See, we filled in the blanks,
Yeah.
but kids didn't get that.
Yeah.
So Shrek challenged us to say, hey, what if this movie is more than just it comes and it goes. It's just something for the kids. No.
There's something deeper.
This is an industry.
I think it has to be said just that I think that Chris Farley would have been okay with Mike Myers doing the voiceover, because
Yeah.
Chris Farley really respected Mike Myers.
So, not only did Shrek build the foundation for an entire series, but it also revitalized what many people consider to be Eddie Murphy's dwindling film career. Because pretty much since Dr. Dolittle, he hadn't had a hit. Dr. Dolittle 2, the Clumps, that didn't do very well. The Adventures of Pluto Nash was one of the most expensive box office bombs in the world. And now here comes Eddie Murphy out of the woodwork, hasn't done stand-up since the 80s, and he's playing Donkey opposite Mike Myers. Whoa, that's a bit of a dream team. Now, why was Cameron Diaz in there? She's not really a comedian, but just 5 years prior had her film debut in The Mask.
The Mask.
Okay? So 95, we see The Mask and Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber. Jim Carrey's on the top of his game.
Okay.
Okay? 95 is the year of Jim Carrey.
It's interesting that you say this because Chris Farley was supposed to play the cable guy before he couldn't take it, and then Jim Carrey was brought in.
And The Cable Guy was the first movie where an actor was paid $20 million.
The highest paid actor.
Of all, up to that point, Jim Carrey was the highest paid actor of all time in The Cable Guy.
Funny story, I actually worked with the DP, the director of photography, on that movie.
Wow.
And Jim Carrey showed up on set, and it was Christmas time. They were going late, they were over on all their shots, and he showed up on Christmas. It was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, but nobody wanted to be there. Everybody wanted to be home with their families, but they had to go and shoot a full day. And Jim Carrey comes into set, and he's sitting in a car doing one of the car scenes, and he just pops his head out of the sunroof and says, "Does anybody want to be here?" And they kind of all joked and laughed, like, "Oh, no, no." And he just left. And they tried to find him, and they couldn't find him anywhere. And so they just said, "All right, we got to go home." And Jim Carrey knew he could do that because he was the star, he was the highest paid actor, he had the power.
So when we think of the iPhone 11, which many of us got for Christmas, we must also think of what Jim Carrey did for those people on Christmas. And we also think of Shrek, which was such a huge hit over that Christmas season. And I watched it on my phone, my iPhone 11.
It feels like a full circle. It feels like this whole list has been working towards this point. That almost in a way, Apple knew we were going to make this video. And when they made the iPhone 11, they made it with this video in mind.
And we think to the fact that Steve Jobs acquired Pixar from George Lucas and Lucasfilm and took it to become a successful company, which drove DreamWorks to say, hey, we got to get in the computer animated film game here. We would not have Shrek without Steve Jobs.
This is the point, guys. The point of this video today is that the iPhone 11 is not only where you watch Shrek, but in a way, because that's how Steve Jobs made his money and made his success, it is not how we watch Shrek, but it is why there is a Shrek.
Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, George Lucas,
Jim Carrey.
Steve Jobs, Jim Carrey, Batman Forever, Val Kilmer, Joel Schumacher, who directed the number 23, starring Jim Carrey.
Oh my gosh.
It's all connected.
Guys, this is the point of why I do tech tip videos. You guys have been paying it. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for watching, being faithful to the tech channel. I know this was a big stretch for me to jump into tech, but you guys have just loved it and you've supported so much. But this is why, because when you really look at tech, you really study tech, you realize it's actually just
People.
people.
People are technology. Technology is people. People need the technology. People make the technology. The technology relies on the people to use it, to rely on the people, to rely on the technology, to rely on other people. It's love.
So why do we love the iPhone 11? Because we are the iPhone 11. Who I am, my career, my choices was made by entertainment, by watching things, by being educated through things, and literally I have become the thing that I have eaten the most, which is my technology, which is my phone. And so today, number 100 on our list of why we love the iPhone 11 is because you gotta love yourself.
I think Shrek taught us that more than anybody.
Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you like this and want to see a part 2 with my buddy Mark, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Maybe actually tell us maybe 1 or 20 of your favorite things we said.
And also, what's your favorite quote from Shrek. Write it in emojis, not using words.
Go back to our original language, guys. That's why we're doing this today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting us. Friends, if you're part of this channel, you're a friend, guys.